The presidential candidates taking jabs at each other on the campaign trail as they continue to fight for those votes. Both of those candidates spoke at several events across Michigan today. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Terrence Friday. Shayna has the night off. Former President Donald Trump held events today in Auburn Hills and Detroit, while Vice President Harris spoke in Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Waterford. We have team coverage of this busy day of campaigning. Let's begin with CBS News Detroit's Heath Kalb, who is following the Trump campaign at Huntington Place.
Trump made his 13th visit to Michigan alone this election cycle today, and he made multiple stops this afternoon looking to win over voters once again in this all-important battleground state. Under 3 weeks away from what is shaping up to be a close election, Donald Trump spent Friday afternoon in southeastern Michigan, first at a roundtable-style event in Auburn Hills, and then at a larger rally in downtown Detroit, just 1 week after he made disparaging remarks about the city, albeit Trump made his message clear that if he were elected into office once again, America and Detroit would be in a better place.
Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Not even close, and our country's not better off, that I can tell you.
Trump also rallied his support and confidently told the crowd at Huntington Place that he is going to win.
November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America.
The former president spent time voicing his support for an increase in tariffs and an increase in border control, 2 points he let his audience know that Vice President Harris would, in his view, be against.
21 million people came in under their rule, and she was in charge of the border. She's a grossly incompetent person, and we can't let this happen.
And Trump's final plea was to get out an early vote, which begins Saturday morning here in Detroit. And even though we are less than 3 weeks away from the election, it's likely that we do see Trump here campaigning in Michigan again. For now, outside of Huntington Place, I'm Heath Kalb, CBS News Detroit.
All right, thanks, Heath. And we mentioned that Vice President Kamala Harris was also here. She had 3 campaign stops in Michigan. The last one was in Waterford. That's where CBS News Detroit's Terrell Bailey continues our coverage.
Michigan is one of several battleground states, and Vice President Harris has many messages to the community, from how she plans to protect pensions of union workers to strengthening access to health care if elected.
As Vice President, I have stood up for workers and seniors, and as President, I will fight for all the American people, always.
Vice President Harris continuing to drum up support in the metro area, adding if elected, she will work to invest in communities like Oakland County.
We will retool existing factories and hire locally and work with unions to create good-paying jobs.
It's been over a year since the war in Gaza began. With the war continuing, the vice president says there must be a turning point in the ongoing conflict.
Bring the hostages home and end the suffering once and for all, and I continue to believe diplomacy is the answer.
Early voting begins Saturday in Detroit. Voters tell us this year's election is an important one, as some are concerned what the country would be like in years to come.
Government is to service people, and the democracy is to service the people, and part of that is taking care of the people. Medicare, Medicaid, education, free public education, all part of the package.
More recently, former President Donald Trump has been criticized for his comments about the city of Detroit. For some, they believe America would be lucky to be Detroit.
Crime is down, wages are up. We're rebuilding neighborhoods. We have jobs, thriving small businesses. We got the Lions, we got the Tigers. We are in great shape in Detroit.
The vice president's speech at times took aim at her opponent. Harris alleging the former president has been ducking another presidential debate.
Check this out. He is ducking debates and canceling interviews.
Ahead of Harris's speech, supporters heard from other state and local leaders. A big message among them is that the Democratic ticket is for the American worker.
This is an educator's election. This is an auto worker's election. Have you thanked an auto worker today? Because that other guy, he was throwing some punches.
Now, Democrats will continue canvassing the state leading up until the election next week. Former President Barack Obama will be speaking to voters in Detroit. In Oakland County, Terrell Bailey, CBS News, Detroit.